Check this out. Bombshell news breaking about 5 hours ago. The Trump DOJ has announced a grand jury in the Russia collusion hoax. This is massive. So AG Pamela Bondi has directed a federal prosecutor to bring the evidence provided by Tulsi Gabbard to a grand jury for potential indictments. Some sources are mentioning James Clapper and John Brennan. They could be the first to be charged. Hopefully the first among many. Let's check this one out.
Well, Will,
holy shit.
This is coming out of the Justice Department. Fox News can confirm that Attorney General Pam Bondi today signed an order directing an unnamed U.S. federal prosecutor to take evidence to a grand jury relating to an alleged conspiracy to tie then 2016 candidate Donald Trump to the country of Russia. Now, Fox News reviewed the one-page order just hours ago signed by the Attorney General. A source familiar with the probe confirms this as well.
Well, my faith just went up a few points for AG Pam Bondi.
To comment on this report of an investigation, Fox is told Attorney General Bondi is taking the referrals from Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, quote, very seriously. The spokesperson says that Bondi believes there is, quote, clear cause for deep concern, end quote, and a need for the next steps. Now, this move, Will, comes just a couple of weeks after the Director of National Intelligence, you see her right there, Tulsi Gabbard, sent a criminal referral to the Justice Department regarding what she says proves there was a conspiracy to undermine Trump's candidacy and later his first term in office. Now, to be clear today, there are no charges that have been filed, no indictments. This is incredibly early in the process. What we have here is taking evidence the Justice Department believes it has to a grand jury to secure an eventual indictment or indictments. We don't know exactly where the grand jury will meet. We don't know who will go before the grand jury, and that's by design.
We'll get into
grand
that in a minute.
Juries determine if there's enough evidence to indict, and grand juries are secretive in the American legal system, so it's normal not to know all of the answers. Again, the DOJ declining on any comment regarding this investigation. But, Will, big news, this was signed by the Attorney General Pam Bondi today to take this evidence of an alleged conspiracy to a grand jury with the hope to get an indictment or multiple indictments. Will?
That is big news, David, and congratulations to you. Excellent reporting on being first on this order signed today by Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Hell yeah, huge news, man. Big, big news. And they're saying that it could take place in the state of Florida. That might be where the federal grand jury might be convening. So the question that I first was wondering, how often does a federal grand jury indict? Well, the number might shock you. Maybe it won't shock you. But check this out. Federal grand juries almost always indict. The vast majority of cases presented to them result in an indictment with rates often exceeding 99%. This is because, This is because the standard for indictment, probable cause, is a relatively low bar, requiring only a fair probability that a crime was committed. So I didn't sit on a federal grand jury, but I sat on a state grand jury of the 6th Judicial Circuit in my state in Florida. And the thing is with grand juries is that the defense, they don't have any say-so as to what goes on. They don't have a defense attorney there, no public defender. The defendant's not there. It's all from the prosecution side. So the state, or in this case, the federal government, they present their evidence to the grand jury, and then the grand jury, they mull it over. With it being a grand jury, they're free to ask questions to the prosecution as they're delivering all of their evidence and everything. So yeah, it is secret. We're not going to know what happens in it, but 99%. Holy crap. So this is why it's the case. There's a low standard of proof, though, with grand juries. They need only find probable cause, not proof beyond a reasonable doubt to indict. This means they believe there's a reasonable basis to think a crime was committed and the defendant committed it. The prosecutor's role is that prosecutors present evidence to the grand jury, and they typically only bring cases they believe they can win. This means they've already assessed the evidence and they believe it supports an indictment. So we don't know exactly when this grand jury is going to be convened. I don't know if they're ready to bring it to the grand jury. I assume that they are ready because they announced they're bringing it to the grand jury. I assume they're ready for it. So anyway, the rubber stamp perception, some observers view grand juries as essentially a rubber stamp for prosecutors because they rarely decline to indict. I mean, yeah, that can be taken that way or any other way, but this doesn't mean that they're going to be immediately found guilty. If the grand jury, if they vote to indict, that just simply means that they're going to move to trial. And of course, a lot of us do know, especially with the whole P. Diddy situation, that federal prosecutors in a federal trial, they end up winning their cases something like 90 or 95, 98% of the time. Actually, here, let me look that up. I didn't even think to look that up. Let me zoom out on this a little bit. And win their case, whatever. 90%. Look at this. Federal prosecutors are successful in the vast majority of cases with conviction rates exceeding 90%. So this is pretty heavy, man. This is really significant. This is one hell of a bombshell. Maybe one of the biggest bombshells of the year, if not in the last few years at a minimum. So, yeah, there's more information there. You can Google it yourself. How often do federal grand juries indict? Let me see if I got anything else here. So, probable cause, which I already clicked on by accident. But can a federal grand jury be reconvened if another federal grand jury decided to not indict? And the answer is yes. They can essentially do it over and over again. So if there is the off chance that this grand jury decides to say no, they could reconvene a grand jury down the road if they so choose. The U.S. Attorney General has to sign off on it. And if that were to play out here, which I highly, highly doubt, I mean, we're talking 99% conviction rate. But if that is the case, then they could decide to re-examine the evidence, gather more evidence, and then they could convene another grand jury down the road. But I highly doubt that's going to happen in this case. I mean, the evidence is pretty freaking damning. So this comes from the New York Post. Ex-Obama officials face federal grand jury probe into whether they promoted false Trump-Russia ties. So this is out of Washington. The Justice Department, let me make this a little bigger. The Justice Department is opening a federal grand jury investigation of former Obama administration officials who allegedly conspired to whip up a scandal about President Trump's purported links to Russia during the 2016 election campaign, the Post has learned. The major legal development opens the door to criminal charges against prominent cabinet members who served then President Barack Obama, including former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, former CIA Director John Brennan, and former FBI Director James Comey, the trifecta. It was not immediately clear whether the grand jury would be based in heavily Democratic Washington, D.C. or elsewhere. Even still, if you look up federal grand juries in Washington, D.C., I think it's actually 99.99%, to be honest. Let's see. I believe I did already look that up. You know what? Matter of fact, here, let me just go over here to, all right, I already posted it, so I'll just do it the quick way. So let's see. A widely cited statistic based on data analyzed by the Washington Post in 2014 indicates that federal grand juries, including those in Washington, D.C., vote to indict approximately 99.99% of the time. That's including D.C. So there you have it. Anyway, so Trump and current DNI Tulsi Gabbard have called for a federal probe into the early days of the Russia collusion probe dubbed Crossfire Hurricane, though the commander-in-chief himself has acknowledged that his predecessor likely is immune from prosecution due to a 2024 Supreme Court ruling on the criminality of official presidential acts. The president has accused the former officials of a treasonous and seditious conspiracy to undermine his first-term agenda, which ultimately led to more than 2 years of leaky investigations before Special Counsel Robert Mueller turned up no evidence of collusion. Isn't that funny? Fox News first reported the grand jury investigation, which faces significant hurdles due to statutes of limitation for certain offenses. Well, we'll have to see. So let's see. I guess I'll read it, just in case some of y'all might have forgotten about all this. I highly doubt it, but here we go. Trump was criminally indicted twice by the Biden Justice Department and twice more by Democratic district attorneys as he sought a second non-consecutive term, and he has frequently suggested in recent days that he was too lenient with adversaries during his first term. Yeah, I'd say that's an understatement. Quote, I let 2016 Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton off the hook, end quote, Trump told Newsmax host Rob Finnerty on Friday, referring to the former Secretary of State's possession of classified information on a private home email server. Yeah, you remember that famous debate? Because you'd be in jail. You know, that one. I let her off the hook for what? And then I come in and they did the same thing to me. The difference is they actually meant it and they hurt a lot of people, and it was all a hoax. Yeah, there were a lot of people's lives that were ruined. Let's see. And now they have it in black and white. No, I think they should pay a price. Gabbard, a former Hawaii Democratic congresswoman, sent a criminal referral to AG Pam Bondi last month, raising the possibility that Obama and others broke the law after the DOJ had already opened probes into Comey and Brennan for allegedly lying to Congress. Wow. An email released by Gabbard showed that Obama ordered an intelligence assessment that found Russia intervened to help Trump defeat Clinton, though Gabbard said U.S. intercepts actually showed that Russia expected Clinton to win and held back damaging material on her for later release. This is like proof, irrefutable proof, that Obama was seditious, that Obama lied, was trying to lead a coup, and it was with Hillary Clinton, with all these other people, but Obama headed it up, Trump said last month. Brennan, age 69, is believed to be under investigation for allegedly lying to Congress in May of 2023 about ex-British spy Christopher Steele's dossier of salacious claims against Trump. Steele was paid by research firm Fusion GPS after it had been hired by Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign and the Democratic National Committee to put together an opposition file on Trump. The dossier he produced helped underpin the later investigations. Brennan told Congress in May 2023 that the CIA was very much opposed to having any reference or inclusion of the Steele dossier in a major intelligence agency report, but records show he actually wrote at the time that, quote, I believe that the information warrants inclusion, end quote, in the Obama-ordered assessment. Comey, being 64 years old, he was interviewed in May by the Secret Service after posting an image interpreted as a threat against Trump, you know, the writing in the sand or the seashells or whatever the hell it was. And was accused by Republicans of lying to Congress in 2017. Giving false testimony to Congress carries a penalty of up to 5 years in prison, but has a 5-year statute of limitations. Treason does not have a statute of limitations, but no American has been convicted of that charge since 1949. It's possible that prosecutors could develop a novel legal theory to revive seemingly expired charges as performed by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg last year when he won a 34 felony count conviction against Trump for falsifying business records to conceal a 2016 hush money payments. Oh my, how the tables turn. Wow, this is heavy duty, man. Oh, wow. All right, so also we've got from this account, the storm has arrived. John Solomon is reporting that his sources are telling him that the grand jury for the grand conspiracy will likely take place in Florida. Quote, most likely my sources are telling me it could be in Florida where the raid of President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home happened, of course, because that's where Mar-a-Lago is. This is absolutely huge if his sources are correct. We all know it has to happen outside of D.C. if we really want to see accountability. So let's play this quick clip here.
This is a major development. We told you last week that Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, had given permission for a strike force to begin. That's a very specific tool the Justice Department uses on major conspiracies. And we told you then we would know it was getting serious when the grand jury jumped into action. We now know that a grand jury will be impaneled. Most likely, my sources are telling me it could be in
most likely
Florida,
it could be
where the raid of President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home happened. So that is the very latest. You can check it out at Just News. We're going to have a whole lot more on that over the course of the next.
Oh yeah, I'm sure over the next coming days and weeks. I'm sure I'm sure this is all preliminary for the most part. But man, what a bombshell. So from Charlie Kirk, breaking, AG Pam Bondi has ordered an unnamed prosecutor to take evidence before a grand jury for possible indictments stemming from recent revelations about the 2016 Russiagate fraud. And from Mike Benz, the first step in justice for Russiagate has just been taken. Breaking, Bondi orders evidence sent to grand jury for Russia collusion hoax. Report, Just the News, so on and so forth. And then finally from Julie Kelly, Fox News reporting that AG Pam Bondi today signed a one-page order directing an unnamed federal prosecutor to bring Russiagate conspiracy evidence to a grand jury. This is in response to criminal referrals sent last month to the DOJ by DNI Tulsi Gabbard. Holy moly, this news is huge. Very huge news. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I do a show every evening covering the swamp and everyone living in it, including the politicians, the bureaucrats, the departments, the agencies, the whole 9 yards. So anyway, thanks again for watching, and God bless America.